Story number 1. The checkout time. The front desk clerk at the Sagebrush Motor Lodge handed me my room key at 11:43 p.m. and said, "Checkout is at 10 a.m., not 10:01, not 10:15, 10 a.m. exactly." Her intensity seemed excessive for a $30 a night motel off Highway 89 in rural Nevada. I nodded, took the key, an actual metal key attached to a plastic diamond with Room 7 stamped on it, and walked to my room. I was driving cross-country. Portland to Dallas, 15 hours behind schedule after my car overheated outside of Reno. The Sagebrush was the only motel for 60 miles. Single story, 12 rooms, neon sign flickering weakly in the desert darkness. Room 7 was exactly what I expected. Floral bedspread, stained carpet, TV from the 90s, bathroom that smelled like industrial cleaner trying to mask something worse. I was too exhausted to care. I showered, set my phone alarm for 9 a.m., and collapsed into bed. I woke to knocking at 3:17 a.m., slow, methodical. 3 knocks. Pause. 3 knocks. Pause. 3 knocks. Pause. Front desk. A woman's voice called. Not the clerk from earlier. Someone older. Checkout time. I checked my phone. 3:17 a.m. Checkout isn't until 10, I called back. The knocking continued. Same rhythm. Same intensity. I looked through the peephole. A woman in her 70s stood outside, wearing a floral dress identical to my bedspread pattern. She stared directly at the peephole, unblinking. "Sir, it's checkout time. You need to leave the room. It's 3 in the morning. You've exceeded your stay. Please vacate immediately." I didn't open the door. After 5 minutes, the knocking stopped. I heard her footsteps moving away, checked the peephole empty hallway. I went back to bed but didn't sleep. At 6:41 a.m. the knocking returned, different pattern now, faster, more urgent. "Sir, final warning, checkout was at 10 a.m. You're 8 hours late." I looked at my phone. 6:41 a.m. Checkout isn't until 10. It's not even 7 yet. You're confused. It's 6 p.m. You were supposed to leave 8 hours ago. I opened the door. The woman stood there, same floral dress, but her face was wrong. Gray, sunken. Her eyes had no white, just dark pupils and darker sockets. "What day is it?" I demanded. "March 19th, same as when you checked in, but you've overstayed. The room has other guests waiting." "I checked in last night. March 18th. It's now the morning of the 19th. She smiled. Her teeth were too numerous. "Too small. Time works differently here. You agreed to check out at 10 a.m. You signed the register. The contract is binding." I slammed the door, locked it. Chain. Deadbolt. I called the front desk. No answer. Just ringing, endlessly. I packed in 4 minutes. Grabbed my bag, opened the door. The hallway was different. Longer. The exit sign that had been 30 feet to the left was now distant. Impossibly distant. The corridor stretched hundreds of yards, doors multiplying along both walls. Every door was labeled Room 7. The old woman stood at the far end, backlit by red emergency lighting. "You can't leave until checkout time. That's the policy." I ran the opposite direction. The hallway extended ahead of me, growing longer with each step. More Room 7s. Hundreds of them. I tried doors randomly, all locked, all identical. My phone showed 7:30 a.m., but through the hallway windows that shouldn't exist in a single-story motel, I saw darkness outside. Full night. Stars. I found a door that opened. Room 7. But not my Room 7. This one had someone in the bed. Sleeping. I stepped closer. The person was me. Identical. Wearing the same clothes I'd worn yesterday. Sleeping in the exact position I'd slept in. The figure's eyes opened. "You need to leave," it said with my voice. "It's past checkout time." I backed out. Tried another door. Another Room 7. Another version of me sleeping. This one sat up immediately. "Checkout was at 10 a.m. You're late. The penalties compound hourly." Every room was the same. Dozens of me. All sleeping. All waking to deliver the same message about checkout time. I found a fire exit. Pushed through. It led to another hallway. More Room 7s. More versions of myself behind each door. My phone read 8:44 a.m. An hour had passed in minutes. Or hours had passed in what felt like minutes. Time was collapsing. I found the front desk. The young clerk from last night was there. She looked up, surprised. Can I help you? I need to check out. Immediately. Checkout isn't until 10 a.m. I know, but I want to leave now. She consulted her computer, frowned. Sir, according to our system, you checked in March 18th at 11:43 p.m. Checkout is March 19th at 10 a.m. It's currently. She looked at a clock on the wall. 9:58 a.m. You have 2 minutes remaining. I looked at my phone. 8:37 a.m. I looked at the wall clock. 9:58 a.m. I looked at the wall clock. 9:58 a.m. I looked at the window behind her. Full daylight outside. My car visible in the parking lot. Which time is real? I asked. She smiled. Same too many teeth smile as the old woman. All times are real here. That's why checkout is so important. If you miss it, you exist in all the times simultaneously. You become stuck in every moment of your stay. Forever checking out, forever staying. The clock hit 9:59 a.m. 1 minute, she said. I'd hurry. I ran for the front door. It was locked. I pulled, yanked. Nothing. You have to check out properly, the clerk called. Return your key. Sign the departure log. Follow procedure. I threw the key at her. There, I'm checked out. You didn't sign the log. 30 seconds on the clock. I grabbed the pen. The log was open to a page listing departures. Hundreds of names. All the same name, my name. Listed dozens of times with different dates, some from this year, some from decades ago. The earliest entry, March 19, 1973. Sign, the clerk urged. 10 seconds. I signed. The door unlocked with a heavy click. I burst through into the parking lot. My car was there. I ran to it, got in, started the engine. The motel looked normal in my rearview mirror. Single story, 12 rooms. Neon sign still flickering, but in the window of room 7, I saw movement. Someone standing there, watching, wearing my clothes. I drove, checked my phone. 10 a.m. exactly, March 19th. I'd made checkout, but 3 hours later, stopped at a gas station in Utah. I found something in my jacket pocket, a receipt from the Sagebrush Motor Lodge. For room 7. Checkout date, March 19, 2024, 10 a.m. Below that, in small print, Gase departed on time. No penalties assessed. Return booking confirmed for March 19, 2025, 11:43 p.m. Reservation is non-refundable and binding. I'm writing this 10 months later. It's March 18th, 2025. I've tried to stay away from Highway 89. Tried to avoid Nevada entirely. But every route I plan, every direction I drive, I end up on roads that lead back there. My GPS keeps rerouting. My map apps malfunction. Flight bookings cancel. Bus tickets disappear. Tonight, I'm in Reno, 60 miles from the Sagebrush. I've rented a hotel room downtown. Triple locked the door, but at 11 p.m., someone knocked. Sir, your reservation at the Sagebrush Motor Lodge is confirmed for 11:43 p.m. Transportation has been arranged. I didn't open the door, but when I checked the parking lot from my window, my car was gone, and parked in its space was a shuttle van. Engine running. Sagebrush Motor Lodge Quartzveenzy vehicle painted on the side. The knocking continued. Sir, we can't miss check-in time. The room is waiting. You're expected. It's 11:37 p.m. now. The knocking hasn't stopped. I can hear the shuttle van's engine idling below. And when I close my eyes, I see room 7. See the bed with its floral spread. See myself checking in. See myself sleeping. See myself waking to that knock at 3:17 a.m. The reservation is binding. The room never forgets its guests. And checkout time is always exactly 10 a.m. Not 10:01, not 10:15. 10 a.m. exactly. Or you stay forever. Story number 2, the ice machine. The Pine View Motor Inn's ice machine had been running constantly for 6 days when I realized it wasn't making ice. I was working construction in Billings, Montana, 8-week contract, staying at the Pine View because it was cheap and close to the site. Room 14, second floor, right next to the ice machine alcove. The noise started March 23, 2024. That grinding, cycling sound ice machines make. Normally it runs for 30 seconds, produces ice, stops. But this one ran continuously, day and night, an endless mechanical drone through the thin walls. I complained to management on day 2. The owner, Frank, said he'd check it. On day 3, I complained again. He said the repair guy was coming Thursday. Thursday came and went. The noise continued. On day 6, March 29, I was getting ice at 2 a.m. Couldn't sleep through the noise. Figured I'd at least get a cold drink. I opened the ice machine. It was empty. Completely. No ice. Just the internal mechanism churning uselessly, grinding metal on metal with nothing to process. But the collection bin was full. Not with ice, with something else. Small white objects. Hundreds of them. I pulled one out. It was a tooth. Human molar. Root still attached. I dropped it. Backed away. The machine continued grinding. I looked inside the upper mechanism where ice forms. Saw something caught in the crusher. Something organic. Something that looked like a finger. I called the front desk. Frank answered, annoyed. It's 2 in the morning. Your ice machine is full of teeth. Silence. Then, don't touch it. I'm coming up. He arrived in 5 minutes, examined the machine, went pale. We emptied the collection bin together. Not just teeth. Other things, small bones, fingernail fragments, what looked like pieces of scalp with hair still attached. Frank unplugged the machine. The grinding stopped. We stood in sudden silence. I'm calling the police, I said. Wait. Frank was staring at the machine. This doesn't make sense. This machine was serviced last week. It was completely clean. Where did all this? The machine turned back on. We both jumped. It was unplugged. Cord lying visibly on the floor. But the grinding resumed, louder than before. The police came at 3:15 a.m. 2 officers. They examined the contents, photographed everything, called for a forensics team. 1 officer tried to turn the machine off. Couldn't. It had no power source but kept running. We need to remove this, the older officer said. Evidence collection. They disconnected it completely, tipped it on a dolly to wheel it out. When they tilted it, something liquid poured from the bottom. Dark. Viscous. It smelled like copper and rot. The forensics team arrived at dawn. I gave my statement. Frank gave his. The other guests were questioned. Nobody had seen anything unusual. Nobody had heard anything beyond the normal ice machine noise. I went back to my room at 7 a.m. Exhausted. The grinding had stopped finally. I could sleep. At 7:41 a.m. I heard it again. That same mechanical grinding, same rhythm. Same location. I opened my door, looked at the alcove. The ice machine was back, same model, same position, plugged in, running. But the police had taken it. I'd watched them load it into their van. This was impossible. I called Frank. Did you install a new ice machine? What? No. The police have ours. Why? There's one here. Right now, running. He came up again. Stared at the machine. This is the same one. Same serial number. Same dent on the side panel. The police took it. I know. I watched them. He pulled out his phone, called the station, put it on speaker. Officer Morrison speaking. This is Frank Delaney at the Pineview. Quick question. Do you still have our ice machine? Yes, sir. It's in evidence lockup. Why? Frank looked at me. And you took it from the 2nd floor alcove, room 14 vicinity? Correct. Renewed it at approximately 0600 hours. Frank hung up. We both stared at the machine grinding away in front of us. There's 2 of them, I said. There can't be. We only have 1 ice machine. Only ever had 1. I opened this machine's collection bin, full of teeth, fresh ones, still bloody. Frank vomited on the hallway carpet. We called the police again. They came back, confused, confirmed their evidence machine was still in lockup. Took the 2nd machine anyway. Same process. Photos, evidence bags, removal. I stayed in the lobby this time. Watched them drive away with it at 9:37 a.m. At 9:52 a.m. the grinding started again. 2nd floor. Same location. The ice machine was back. This time 5 of us went up together. Me, Frank, 2 police officers, and a forensics technician. We documented everything. Photographed the serial number identical to the first. Examined the collection bin full of the same biological material. Officer Morrison made a decision. We're sealing this floor. Nobody in or out. We're gonna watch this thing, figure out what's happening. They set up cameras, positioned an officer in the hallway. We all went downstairs to monitor the feeds. At 10:31 a.m., the grinding stopped. On camera, we watched the ice machine just stop. Then it started to shake, violently, the entire unit convulsing. "Get up there," Morrison ordered his partner, but before the officer could move, the shaking stopped. On the feed, the ice machine looked normal, except the collection bin door was open, and something was emerging from inside. A hand, pale, reaching out from the ice machine's interior. Then an arm, then a head. A person was climbing out of the ice machine, emerging from an opening too small for a human body, contorting, unfolding. Wrong. The person stood, male, middle-aged, wearing a Pine View Motor Inn staff shirt. He looked directly at the camera, smiled, opened the ice machine door and climbed back inside. The grinding resumed. Morrison ran upstairs. We followed. The ice machine was running normally. The collection bin was empty. No teeth, no biological material, no evidence. Anything had been inside. "Check the guest," Frank said. The staff shirt that was one of ours. We reviewed the footage, froze it on the man's face. Frank went pale. "That's Dennis Kowalski. He worked here in 2008. Maintenance guy. Where is he now?" "He disappeared. March of 2008. Just didn't show up for work one day. Police investigated. Found nothing. He was declared missing." "That was 16 years ago," I said. That guy on the camera looked 40. Dennis was 40 when he disappeared. Morrison called for more backup, more cameras. They were treating this as a missing person case now. Potential abduction, potential imprisonment somewhere in the building. They searched the entire motel. Every room, every closet, every crawl space. Nothing. No Dennis. No signs of occupancy. No hidden compartments. But every hour, the ice machine would stop grinding, would shake, and someone would emerge. Different people, different faces, all wearing Pine View staff shirts from different eras. One woman emerged at 2 p.m. Frank identified her as Linda Marsh, disappeared 1993. One man emerged at 4 p.m., Gerald Chin, disappeared 2002. Another woman at 6 p.m., Rebecca Holt, disappeared 2017. All former Pine View employees, all missing persons cases, all emerging from the ice machine, looking exactly as they had when they disappeared, climbing out and then back in before the grinding resumed. "What the hell is in that machine?" Morrison demanded. Frank pulled up employment records. Over the Pine View's 50-year history, 12 employees had disappeared without explanation. All maintenance workers. All vanished during March. All last seen near the ice machine. "We need to open it," Morrison said. "Completely disassemble it." They brought tools, a maintenance team. At 8 p.m., they began taking the ice machine apart, piece by piece, documenting everything. The exterior panels came off easily. The internal mechanisms were standard compressor, evaporator, crusher, nothing unusual. They removed each component. Finally, they reached the ice storage compartment, the container where ice collects before dispensing. It was larger inside than the exterior dimensions allowed. Impossibly larger. Morrison shone his flashlight inside. The beam disappeared into darkness, into space that shouldn't exist. "There's something down there," he said. "Way down. I can see. Movement." He reached in, his arm extended past where his shoulder should have stopped, past where the machine's exterior should have ended. 3 feet, 4 feet, his entire arm inside the impossible space. "I feel something," he said. "Something cold. Something," he screamed, started pulling back, but something was pulling him in. He braced his feet. Another officer grabbed his belt. They pulled together. Morrison came free. His hand was white, frost-covered, and clutched in his fingers was a piece of paper, a name tag. Dennis Kowalski, maintenance. From inside the machine we heard grinding, mechanical, but also organic, like gears crushing meat. Morrison ordered everyone back. They sealed the floor, evacuated the building, called in specialists, people I didn't recognize, in unmarked vehicles. Federal agents, maybe, or something else. I was interviewed for 4 hours, asked what I'd seen, what I'd heard, told to sign documents I didn't read, given a new room at a different motel, told not to discuss what happened. The Pine View Motor Inn was condemned on March 30th. Structural issues, according to the public record. The building was demolished in April. but I drove past the site last week. The lot is empty. Paved over, except in the exact location where room 14 had been. There's a structure. Small, metal, still standing, an ice machine, running. I could hear it from my car. That endless mechanical grinding in the collection bin was full, not with ice. I didn't check what it was full of, but I saw someone emerge while I watched. Climbing out, looking around, then climbing back in before the grinding resumed. It was me, wearing the clothes I'm wearing right now. Same face, same expression. I don't work at the Pine View. Never did. I was just a guest. But I'm starting to think that doesn't matter. The machine doesn't care about employment. It cares about proximity, about people who get too close, who hear it grinding, who open the collection bin, who see what's inside. I'm checking into a different motel tonight, somewhere without ice machines, somewhere the grinding can't follow me, but I can hear it already, faint, getting closer, that mechanical rhythm. And I know when I look in the mirror tonight, I'll see frost on my fingers, see my name tag forming, see myself beginning to disappear. The ice machine is always hungry, and checkout time doesn't matter when you're part of the inventory. Story number 3, the reservation book. The Desert Rose Motel kept a handwritten reservation book at the front desk, and on April 2nd, 2024, I found my name written in it for a date I hadn't booked. I'd stopped at Needles, California emergency stop after my motorcycle developed electrical problems. The Desert Rose was the only place with vacancy. Single story, 20 rooms, probably built in the 60s and never updated. The owner, Mrs. Alvarez, was in her 70s. She registered me manually in a leather-bound ledger instead of using the computer I could see behind her desk. No power this morning, she explained. Lightning hit the transformer. Everything's manual today. She wrote my information in beautiful cursive. Room 12, one night, checkout April 3rd. As she wrote, I noticed other entries on the page. The book was open to April 2nd. My name was already there, written in different ink, different handwriting, but definitely my name, my full name, including middle initial. Most people don't know. Why is my name already here? I asked. Mrs. Alvarez looked, frowned, flipped back through pages. That's odd. This entry is from 2019. April 2nd, 2019. Someone with your name stayed here. Same spelling. That's not possible. That's my full legal name. She showed me the entry. Room 12. One night. Checkout April 3, 2019. In the notes column, written in faded blue ink. Guest did not check out. Room cleaned. Items removed to storage. What does that mean? Mrs. Alvarez looked uncomfortable. Sometimes guests leave without checking out formally. They just leave. We clean the room and store any belongings left behind. Do you still have the belongings from 2019? She hesitated, then nodded, led me to a storage room behind the office. Shelves lined with labeled boxes, dates and room numbers on each one. She found the box labeled Room 12, A Pier IL 2019. Inside were clothes, men's clothes, my size, a leather motorcycle jacket identical to the one I was wearing, wallet with ID, a driver's license with my name, my face, my birthday, but issued in 2017 with a Texas address I'd never lived at. I stared at the ID. This is impossible. Perhaps it's a relative, a brother, someone with the same name. I'm an only child, and this is my face. Mrs. Alvarez looked at the ID, looked at me, looked at the ID again. She went paler. I'll refund your money. Perhaps you should find another motel. I need to stay in room 12. I don't think that's wise. I need to understand what this is. She finally agreed, gave me the key, actual metal key, just like everything else at the Desert Rose was trapped in analog past. I took the box of belongings with me. Room 12 was standard. Bed, TV, small bathroom, window facing the parking lot. I locked the door and examined the items from the box. The jacket was worn in the exact places. Mine was worn. The wallet contained credit cards with my name but account numbers I didn't recognize. A phone dead battery. I plugged it into my charger. It powered on. No password. The lock screen showed a date, April 2nd, 2019. The background photo was me on my motorcycle. Same motorcycle currently parked outside. But in the photo, the motorcycle had damage on the right side. scrapes, dents, like it had been in an accident. I checked the phone's contents, text messages, emails, photos, all belonging to me, or someone identical to me. The messages discussed a cross-country trip. Portland to Austin. Same trip I was making right now. 5 years later. The last text was sent April 2nd, 2019 at 11:47 p.m. Something's wrong with this motel. The room numbers keep changing. I was in room 12, but now I'm in room 17. The front desk is empty. Nobody's answering. If anyone gets this, send help to Desert Rose Motel, Needles, CACA. I checked the message recipients. One number. I recognized it. My best friend Mark's number. I called him. "Hey man, what's up?" Mark answered. "Did I ever send you a message about being stuck at a motel? Desert Rose and Needles? What? No. Why? You sure? Maybe 5 years ago? April 2019? Dude, 5 years ago you were working in Seattle. You didn't do any road trips until this year. Are you okay?" I hung up. This wasn't making sense. I checked the room carefully, looked for anything unusual, found nothing, just a standard motel room. At 11:47 p.m., the room number on my door changed. I'd been watching it through the peephole. One moment it read 12 in brass numbers screwed into the wood. I blinked. When I looked again, it read 17. I opened the door, looked at the external placard, room 17. But I'd entered room 12. The key in my hand was labeled room 12. The parking lot looked the same. But my motorcycle was parked in a different space, and it had damage. Right side scraped and dented, exactly like in the photo. I ran to the office, empty, lights on. No Mrs. Alvarez. The computer behind the desk was newer. The reservation book was gone. In its place was a digital tablet displaying a check-in system. I touched the screen. It showed current guests. Room 17 was listed as occupied. Guest name, my name. Check-in, April 2nd, 2019. Checkout, April 3, 2019. Today's date, according to the tablet, was April 2nd, 2019. My phone confirmed it. April 2nd, 2019, 11:52 p.m. I'd gone back 5 years. Or, I'd always been in 2019 and thought I was in 2024, or something worse. I tried to leave. Got on my motorcycle, the damaged one that wasn't mine but was identical. Drove toward the exit. The road beyond the parking lot was dark. No streetlights, no traffic. I drove for what felt like 10 minutes. Then I was back at the Desert Rose parking lot. Different space, but definitely back. I tried again, same result. The road looped impossibly, returning me to the motel. At 12:33 a.m., another motorcycle pulled into the lot. The rider parked, removed his helmet. It was me. Again. Looking younger. Wearing the same clothes I'd worn when I first arrived, before I found the box, before everything changed. I watched from the shadows as this other version of me checked in. Watched Mrs. Dados, Alvarez younger, same woman, but 5 years less aged, write his information in the reservation book. Watched him receive the key to room 12. He walked past me without seeing me. Entered room 12. His room was 3 doors from room 17 where I was standing. I knocked on his door. He opened it. Looked at me with shock. "Who are you?" he asked. "I'm you. 5 years from now, you're going to check that reservation book tomorrow. You're going to find your name written for today. You're going to stay in this room, and at 11:47 p.m. everything is going to change." That's insane. Check your phone. You sent Mark a message at 11:47 tonight. You told him something was wrong with this motel. He never received it because you're trapped here, in a loop. We both are. The younger me checked his phone. No message sent. I haven't sent anything. You will, in about 11 hours. After the room number changes. After you realize you've gone back in time, you'll try to warn someone. This is a prank. Check the storage room tomorrow. Look for a box labeled Room 12, April 2019. You'll find your belongings, your jacket, your wallet, your phone, all placed there by a version of you that tried to leave and couldn't. I left him staring, went back to room 17, waited at 11:47 p.m. April 3, 2019. According to my phone, the room number changed again, back to room 12. The parking lot shifted. My motorcycle was undamaged again. The date was April 3, 2024. I ran to the office. Mrs. Alvarez was there. Older again, present day. "Did I ever check out?" I demanded. She looked confused. "You checked in 4 hours ago. It's only 3 a.m. What's today's date?" "April 3rd, 2024. But my phone showed April 3rd, 2024. But my phone showed April 3rd, 2019. Then, as I watched, the date flickered. Changed. April 3rd, 2024. The phone from the box, the dead one I'd charged, buzzed in my pocket. A text message, sent just now, from me, to Mark. "Something's wrong with this motel. The room numbers keep changing. I was in room 12, but now I'm in room 17. The front desk is empty. Nobody's answering. If anyone gets this, send help to Desert Rose Motel, Needles, CA." The message I'd read earlier, the one I thought was sent in 2019. I was sending it now. Had sent it. Would send it. Time was collapsing. I checked the storage room. The box labeled Room 12A Purial 2019 was there. But now there was another box, Room 12, a poor old 2024. Inside were my belongings, the clothes I was currently wearing, my phone, the one in my hand, my wallet, my jacket, all placed there as if I'd already left, as if I'd already failed to check out. Mrs. Alvarez appeared behind me. "You're still here," she said. Not a question, a statement. "Resigned." "How many times?" I asked. "How many versions of me have stayed here?" She pulled out the reservation book, opened it, flipped through pages. Every April 2nd since 2014, the same name. My name. Room 12. Same note every time. Guest did not check out. Room cleaned. Items removed to storage. 10 years, she said. You've been checking in every year, trying to leave, never succeeding. Why? The Desert Rose was built on time, she said. Not land time. Old construction project. Government project from the 60s. They were testing something. Temporal anchoring. Ways to create stable loops for observation purposes. The project failed. Or succeeded, depending on perspective. The motel remained. And certain rooms, 12, room 17, room 8, they exist in multiple times simultaneously. How do I leave? I don't know. Nobody who stayed in those rooms has ever left. They loop, check in, discover the loop, try to escape, fail, reset, check in again next year. You've been watching this for 10 years, longer. You're not the first. There are others, different rooms, different loops. A woman in room 8 has been checking in every June since 1987. A man in room 17 since 2003. Why don't you close those rooms? We tried. They reopen. The motel won't let them stay empty. I went back to room 12, sat on the bed. The clock read 4047 a.m. In 7 hours, I'd check out. Drive away. Forget this happened. And next year, April 2nd, 2025, I'd break down near Needles again. I'd stop at the Desert Rose. I'd check into room 12, and the loop would continue. Unless I stayed. If I didn't check out, if I remained in the room past checkout time, what then? At 10 a.m. checkout time, I didn't leave. Stayed in the room. Waited. At 10 a.m. 1 a.m., someone knocked. Mrs. Alvarez. Sir, it's checkout time. I didn't answer. At 10:15 a.m., the knocking became urgent. Sir, you must vacate. Other guests need the room. At 10:30 a.m., silence. At 11:47 a.m., silence. At 11:47 a.m., the room number changed. Room 17 again. Date April 3rd, 2019. My motorcycle outside was damaged, but I was still here, still conscious, still remembering both times. Maybe that was the key. Not leaving, not fighting the loop, accepting it. Existing in both times simultaneously. I've been here for 6 days now, or 6 years, or 6 hours. Time moves strangely when you stop trying to track it. The room shifts. 12 to 17, 2019 to 2024. Sometimes other years, sometimes dates I haven't lived yet. I see other versions of me sometimes, checking in, discovering the loop, trying to leave. I don't warn them anymore. They have to experience it, have to understand. Mrs. Alvarez brings food. We don't discuss payment. The reservation is eternal. Other guests pass by my window. Some are from this year, some from decades ago. A woman checks into room 8. I recognize her from Mrs. Alvarez's story. She's been looping since 1987. She looks 30. She always looks 30. We're residents now, not guests. The desert rose has claimed us, anchored us in its temporal space. We exist in multiple times, maintaining the loops, keeping the system stable. I found a box in storage labeled Room 12, Imperial 2029. My belongings are inside, including this journal I'm writing now. I haven't placed it there yet, but I will. Am doing so. Time is a flat circle here, and the desert rose spins forever. If you're driving through Needles, if you break down near the California border, if you see a motel called the Desert Rose, keep driving. Don't check in. Don't ask about room 12. And definitely don't look in the reservation book. Your name might already be there, waiting for you to arrive. Again. Story number 4. The Mirror in Room 9. The mirror in Room 9 at the Sunset View Motor Lodge showed my reflection 3 seconds behind my movements, and by the 4th day, the reflection stopped following me entirely. I was in Albuquerque for a conference May 11th through 15th, 2024. The Sunset View was cheap and close to the convention center. 48 rooms, 2 floors, swimming pool that hadn't had water in years. The mirror was above the bathroom sink. Standard motel mirror. Nothing special about it at first, but on the morning of May 12th, I noticed the delay. I'd brush my teeth. My reflection would start brushing 3 seconds later. I'd lower the brush. My reflection would continue for 3 more seconds before stopping. Like watching a video with desync audio, except with my own movements. I mentioned it to the front desk. The clerk, teenager named Brendan, said he'd send maintenance. Nobody came. The delay increased throughout the day. By evening, the gap was 7 seconds. I'd move. 7 seconds later, my reflection would move. I'd stop. 7 seconds later, my reflection would stop. I covered the mirror with a towel before sleeping. At 3:27 a.m., I heard glass breaking. Uncovered the mirror. It was intact. But my reflection was staring at me. Even though I'd just woken up and was looking groggily at the mirror, my reflection was wide awake. Alert. Staring with intention. I moved my hand. My reflection didn't move. Just kept staring. I left the bathroom. Went back to bed. Told myself it was fatigue. Conference exhaustion. Too many presentations. The next morning, May 13th, my reflection was smiling. I wasn't. My face was neutral, but the face in the mirror smiled widely. When I leaned closer, my reflection leaned back. When I stepped away, my reflection stepped forward. We were moving in opposition now. I called the front desk. Something's wrong with the mirror in room 9. Wrong how? Brandon asked. It's not reflecting correctly. I'll send someone. The maintenance man arrived at 11 a.m. Old guy named Carl. He examined the mirror. Looks fine to me. Watch. I moved my hand. In the mirror, my reflection moved identically. Perfect synchronization. Normal. Carl looked at me like I was wasting his time. It's working fine. After he left, I checked again. The reflection was back to moving independently. But now it was doing things I wasn't doing. Scratching its face. Looking around the bathroom. Examining things. I covered the mirror again. Used duct tape this time, sealing the towel completely. At 4:47 p.m., I returned from the conference. The towel was on the floor. The mirror was uncovered, and my reflection was holding something. A piece of paper, writing on it. I couldn't read the text from my angle. My reflection turned the paper around, pressed it against the glass from the other side. Help, M. I backed away. My reflection kept holding the sign, started mouthing words. I'm not good at reading lips, but the message was clear. Help me. Let me out. I left the room. Went to the front desk. Demanded a room change. We're fully booked, Brandon said. Conference weekend, every room is occupied. Then I'm leaving, going to another motel. You're paid through the 15th, no refunds. I didn't care. Started packing. But when I opened my suitcase, everything inside was wrong. Not my clothes. Similar, but different brands. Different sizes. And there was a wallet. I opened it. Driver's license with my face. My name. but the signature was wrong. The handwriting wasn't mine. I grabbed my actual wallet from the nightstand, compared them. 2 identical IDs. Same face, same name, different signatures, different issue dates. The mirror in the bathroom was uncovered again. My reflection was packing too, but packing my actual belongings into my actual suitcase while I held the strange one. "What are you?" I shouted at the mirror. My reflection stopped, looked at me, mouthed, "I'm you, the real you. You're the reflection." "That's impossible." It pointed at the suitcase in my hands, at the wallet, and everything wrong. Then it pointed at itself, at the room visible in the mirror behind it. A room that looked like room 9 but subtly different. The bedspread was a different color. The TV was newer. The window showed daylight even though it was evening outside. My reflection mouthed, "I've been trapped for 4 days. Since you checked in, you replaced me. You're the mirror version. You came through and I got stuck inside." I looked at my hands. They looked real, felt real. I touched the wall. Solid. Normal. I'm not a reflection. This is insane. My reflection pulled out a phone. My phone. Scrolled through something. Turned it to show me. Photos. Hundreds of photos. Of me, of him, living a life. Pictures with friends I recognized. Places I'd been. Memories I had. But when I checked my phone, those photos weren't there. My photo library was sparse. Random images. Nothing personal. Like someone had created a basic backstory but hadn't filled in the details. "Look at your arms," the reflection mouthed. I rolled up my sleeves. My left forearm had a scar. Old scar from a bicycle accident when I was 12. I'd caught my arm on a fence. 6 stitches. My reflection rolled up its sleeves. No scar. Skin was perfect. "You copied me wrong," it mouthed. "You don't have everything. You're incomplete." I checked. My reflection was right. Other scars missing. A birthmark I'd had since childhood gone. Dental work that should be visible absent. "When did this happen?" I whispered. "May 11th. When you checked in." You looked in the mirror. I looked back. Then we swapped. You came out. I went in. It happened so fast I didn't understand until later. How do we swap back? I don't know. I've been trying. But the mirror only works one way. Things come out. Things don't go back in. I sat on the bed, tried to process. If this was real, if I was actually a reflection that had somehow become solid, then what was I? Was I real? Did I have a right to this life? "Please," my reflection mouthed. "I have a family. People expecting me. You don't. You just a copy. You don't have a real history. Everything you remember is borrowed from me." But the memories felt real. I remember childhood. College, jobs, relationships. All of it felt authentic. "Those aren't your memories," the reflection mouthed, as if reading my thoughts. "They're mine. You took them when you took my place. But they're not really yours. You didn't live them. You're just a clone made of light and glass." I looked at my hands again. They didn't look like glass. They looked like flesh. I pressed a finger against my arm. It hurt. I was real. I had to be real. Over the next day, my reflection became more desperate, pounding on the glass, screaming silently from inside the mirror, holding up more signs. "My wife is expecting me. You're ruining my life. Let me out. Let me out." I stopped looking at the bathroom mirror, used the small mirror above the dresser instead, but I could hear the pounding from the bathroom. Constant. Urgent. On May 15th, checkout day, I packed, decided to leave. Forget this happened, go back to my life, or his life, or whatever life this was. But when I looked at the conference materials, I realized I didn't actually know what sessions I'd attended. Couldn't remember details. The memories were vague, incomplete, like watching a movie instead of living it. I checked my email, found confirmations and schedules, but no memory of registering, no memory of booking travel. The digital trail existed, but the actual experience was hollow. My reflection was right. I wasn't real. Not completely. I was a copy without depth. A mirror image pretending to have substance. I went to the bathroom mirror. My reflection was exhausted, sitting on the floor of the mirror bathroom, defeated. "How do we switch back?" I asked aloud. He looked up, mouthed, "I don't know if we can. There has to be a way. If I came through, you can come through." The mirror doesn't work like that anymore. I've tried everything. It only lets things out, not back in. What if we break it? Then I'm trapped forever. In fragments, in pieces. At least now I'm whole in here. I thought about it. About existing as a reflection. About returning to the mirror. About giving up this borrowed life. If I come back in, I said, what happens to me? You stop being real. You become what you were. A reflection. Nothing more. Do I disappear? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe you just exist as a reflection again, waiting for someone else to look in, swap places. I reached toward the mirror. My reflection scrambled to his feet, reached toward me from his side. Our hands approached the glass. Wait, I said. If we both touch at the same time, what happens? Maybe we swap. Maybe nothing. Maybe we both get stuck. I don't know. We stood there, hands inches from the glass. Two versions of the same person. One real, one a copy. Or maybe both real. Or neither real. I don't want to go back to being nothing, I admitted. I don't want to stay trapped, he said. I could hear him now, faintly, his voice coming through the glass. Please, I have people who need me. You don't. You're only 4 days old. Those 4 days feel real. I feel real. You're not. You're a glitch, an accident. You were never supposed to exist outside the mirror. I pulled my hand back. I'm sorry, I can't. I want this life, even if it's borrowed. His face twisted. Anger, desperation. You're stealing my existence. I'm sorry. I left, checked out, drove home to an apartment I recognized but didn't remember renting. To a job I had evidence of, but no real memory of working. To a life that felt like watching someone else's home videos. The gaps are getting more noticeable. People reference conversations I don't remember. Inside jokes I don't get. I'm improvising constantly. Pretending. Filling in blanks. Last week I caught my reflection in a store window doing something I didn't do. Scratching its nose while my hands were at my sides. Yesterday, my reflection in my bathroom mirror was wearing different clothes than I was wearing. This morning, I looked in the mirror and saw someone else entirely. A stranger, staring back at me with my face but wrong somehow. And behind him, barely visible, I could see myself. The mirror me. Trapped behind the stranger. Both of us looking out. The stranger smiled, waved, then stepped away from the mirror. I heard my front door open. Footsteps. The stranger appeared behind me. Solid, real, identical to me, but more complete somehow. More detailed. My turn, he said. You've had 4 weeks. That's more than I got. Back you go. He grabbed my arm. His hand passed through me. Not solid. Not real. I was becoming transparent. He pushed me toward the mirror. I stumbled. Fell against the glass. But instead of hitting it, I fell through. I'm inside now. Inside the mirror. Looking out at him, at the newest copy. He's adjusting his shirt. Checking his wallet. Learning his new life. I can see the original me behind us. Trapped deeper in the mirror. In layers of reflection. And behind him, others. Dozens of copies. All trapped. All replaced by newer versions. The mirror makes copies. Each one pushes the previous one deeper. Each one takes the life for a while before the next copy emerges. I don't know how long I have. Weeks? Months? Before another version steps out and pushes me further back into the infinite reflections. The sunset view is still operating. Room 9 is still available. Still has the same mirror. If you stay there, don't look too carefully at your reflection. Don't notice if it lags behind your movements. And definitely don't touch the glass. Because once you make contact, once you connect with the thing looking back, the swap begins. And you'll find out whether you're real or just a reflection. By the time you figure it out, you'll already be on the wrong side of the glass. Story number 5. The Commentary Breakfast. The Continental Express Motor Lodge offered complimentary breakfast from 6 to 9 a.m. And on June 4, 2024, I discovered the other guests had been eating the same meal for 7 years. I checked in late past midnight. Long drive from Phoenix to Salt Lake City. The Continental Express was a budget stop off I-15. 2 floors, continental breakfast, advertised prominently on every sign and website listing. Room 23. Second floor. Standard setup. I collapsed into bed at 1 a.m. without bothering to shower. Woke at 7:15. Hungry. Remembered the free breakfast. Headed downstairs to the lobby where a buffet was set up. Waffle maker, coffee, juice dispensers, pastries, cereal, fruit. 5 other guests were there, all sitting at separate tables, all eating the same thing: waffles with syrup, coffee, orange juice. All eating in the same rhythm. Mechanical, precise. I loaded a plate, waffles, some fruit, sat at an empty table. The other guests didn't acknowledge me, just kept eating. Same motions. Cutting waffle, bringing fork to mouth, chewing, sipping coffee. Repeat. The waffle tasted fine. Nothing special. I finished quickly, got more coffee. The other guests were still eating. Same waffles. They hadn't made progress. Their plates looked exactly as full as when I'd entered. I left at 7:45. One of the guests, middle-aged woman in a floral blouse, was still eating. Same waffle. Same motions. I went back to my room, showered, packed, checked out at 9 a.m., drove to Salt Lake City. Forgot about the Continental Express. 6 months later, December 2nd, same drive. Phoenix to Salt Lake. Needed an overnight stop. Saw the Continental Express. Recognized it. Good enough. Checked in. Room 31 this time. Different room. Same setup. Went to breakfast at 7:30 a.m. The dining area was arranged identically to June. Same waffle maker. Same coffee station. And the same 5 guests. Same people. Same tables. Same meals. The woman in the floral blouse, same floral blouse, eating waffle, drinking coffee. Exact same rhythm as 6 months ago. I sat. Watched them. They didn't look up. Didn't acknowledge each other or me. Just ate. Same motions. Same timing. I approached the woman. "Excuse me, have we met? I think I saw you here back in June." She didn't respond. Kept eating. Fork up. Chew. Fork down. Sip coffee. Repeat. I waved my hand in front of her face. No reaction. She looked through me. Through everything. Focused on nothing. I checked the other guests. Same behavior. All locked in their eating routines. Mechanical. Endless. The front desk clerk was different from my previous visit. Older man named Tom. I asked him about the breakfast guests. What guests? The 5 people in the dining area, having breakfast. He looked confused. Walked with me to the dining area. The 5 guests were still there. Still eating. Tom looked at the empty room. "Sir, there's nobody here. You're the only guest having breakfast this morning. You don't see them? The woman in the floral shirt, the man in the polo. I see tables and chairs, no people." I pointed directly at the woman. "She's right there." Tom's expression shifted, concerned. "Sir, have you been drinking?" "I'm completely sober. There are 5 people here, eating waffles. They've been eating for hours." Tom placed his hand on the table where the woman sat. His hand passed through her plate, through her coffee mug, through her. "Sir, I think you should check out. I can recommend a hotel closer to." Your hand just went through her, through an empty table. There's nobody here. I could see them clearly. Solid, physical. But Tom couldn't. He left, giving me concerned looks. I stayed in the dining area, watching the guests. They ate until 9 a.m. Then, simultaneously, all 5 stood, carried their plates to the dish return, walked toward the exit, disappeared as they crossed the threshold. Didn't fade, didn't vanish gradually, just ceased to exist mid-step. I checked the dish return. Empty. No plates, no cups, like they'd never been there. I went to the front desk. The breakfast guests. When did they check in? "Sir, we've been through this. There are no other guests. You're our only occupant last night and tonight. I need to see your records. Past guests. From June." "I can't share guest information. Please. This is important." Tom reluctantly pulled up records. June 4th. 1 guest registered. Me. No other rooms occupied. "What about long-term stays? People who've been here for weeks?" "We don't do long-term. Maximum stay is 14 days per our policy. We haven't had anyone stay longer than 3 nights in the past year." But I'd seen those 5 people 6 months apart. Same clothing. Same meals. Same rhythm. I went back to the dining area, set up my phone to record. Waited until 6 a.m. the next morning. Positioned the camera to capture the entire dining area. At 6:03 a.m., the 5 guests appeared, not walking in, just suddenly present. Sitting at their tables, plates already full, already eating. I approached each one, tried to interact. No response. I touched the woman's shoulder. My hand passed through. She was solid-looking but intangible. Ghosts, recordings, something else. I let the camera record for 3 hours. At 9 a.m., they vanished again. Mid-bite, mid-sip. Gone. I reviewed the footage. The dining area was empty the entire time. No guests. No food. Just me. Standing alone, reaching toward nothing. I checked out immediately. Drove to Salt Lake City. At a coffee shop, I researched the Continental Express. Found news articles. From 2017, 5 killed in carbon monoxide leak at local motel. June 4, 2017, the Continental Express. Gas leak from faulty water heater. 5 guests died in their sleep. All found in their rooms the next morning. All had attended the complimentary breakfast before returning to their rooms and succumbing to the gas. I found their names. Cross-referenced with photos from social media and obituaries. All 5 matched the people I'd seen. The woman in the floral blouse, Patricia Hendricks, 43, from Nevada. The man in the polo, James Chen, 56, from Oregon. 3 others, all matched. They died 7 years ago, but they were still there, still having breakfast, still following the routine from their last morning. I called the Continental Express, asked to speak to Tom. "This is about the guests, isn't it?" he said when he came on the line. "You're not the first to see them. Why didn't you tell me?" "Because most people don't see them. Only certain guests. We don't know why. Maybe 1 in 50. The others eat breakfast normally. Never notice anything unusual." "What are they?" "We don't know. Residual haunting, maybe. Energy imprints. They appear every morning at 6 a.m. Eat until 9. Disappear. Every single day for 7 years. Have you tried to help them?" "Help them how?" "They're not conscious. They're not aware. They're just repeating, like a recording playing on loop." "Have you tried to stop it?" "Exorcism? Closure?" "We brought in paranormal investigators in 2018. Mediums, priests. Nothing changed. They still appear. Still eat breakfast. Nothing breaks the pattern. Why are you still operating?" "People died here. People die in hotels all the time. We passed safety inspections, fixed the water heater, installed carbon monoxide detectors. We're not legally liable, and most guests never see anything unusual." I hung up, but I couldn't stop thinking about those 5 people, trapped in their last morning, unaware they were dead, repeating breakfast eternally. 2 weeks later, December 18th, I drove back to the Continental Express, not for a room, just to check, to see if they were still there. I arrived at 7 a.m., went to the dining area. All 5 guests were present. Same tables, same meals, same rhythm. I sat with Patricia Hendricks, the woman in the floral blouse, watched her eat, studied her face. She looked content, not distressed, not suffering, just existing, performing her breakfast routine. "Patricia," I said softly, "can you hear me?" No response. "Fork up. Chew. Fork down. Sip coffee. You died 7 years ago. You don't have to keep doing this." No change in expression. No recognition. "You can move on. You can rest." Still nothing. The routine continued. Unbreakable. Unchanging. I've been back 17 times now. Same drive. Phoenix to Salt Lake City. I stop at the Continental Express. Eat breakfast with the ghosts. They never change. Never vary. Never acknowledge me or each other or their situation. Patricia always sits at the table by the window. James sits near the coffee station. The other 3, Linda, Robert, Marcus, occupy the remaining tables. Same positions every time. I've started documenting them. Taking notes. Recording patterns. Looking for any deviation. Any sign of awareness. Nothing. 7 years of the exact same breakfast, down to the second. Last week I tried something. At 8:59 a.m., I stood in front of the exit, the threshold where they disappear. At 9 a.m. precisely, all 5 stood and walked toward me, toward the exit. I expected them to pass through me like Tom's hand passed through them. But when Patricia reached me, she stopped. For the first time in 7 years, her pattern broke. She looked at me, actually looked at me. Recognition in her eyes, confusion, fear. Where? Her voice was faint, distant. Where am I? You're at the Continental Express, in the dining area. I was having breakfast. She looked at her hands. I was eating waffles. This was my vacation. I was driving to Sacramento. I stopped for the night. I'm supposed to check out. My daughter is expecting me. Patricia. That's my name. How do you know my name? Patricia. What year is it? She thought. 2017. June 4th. I'm checking out today. I need to leave. You can't leave. Not the way you think. What are you talking about? I'm just going to my car. Continuing my drive. I'm meeting my daughter for dinner tomorrow. The other four were frozen mid-step. Only Patricia was animated. Aware. Conscious. Patricia, you need to know something. You died 7 years ago. Carbon monoxide leak. You didn't wake up from the motel. You died in your sleep after breakfast. Her face went blank. That's not true. I'm fine. I'm standing here. You're standing here every morning. At 6 a.m., you appear in the dining area. You eat breakfast until 9. You walk toward the exit. Then you disappear. You've been doing this for 7 years. Every single day. 7 years? No. That's impossible. It's June 4th. I just checked in last night. It's December 2024. 7.5 years since you died. She looked at the other four. Still frozen. Still mid-step. Who are they? The other guests who died with you. James, Linda, Robert, Marcus. You're all trapped. All repeating your last morning. Patricia started crying. Silent tears. She looked at her hands. At the dining area. At me. I don't want to be dead. I have a daughter. I was supposed to see her. I missed dinner. I missed 7 years. She must think I abandoned her. She knows you died. There was a funeral. She mourned you. I don't want to be dead, Patricia repeated. How do I stop? How do I leave? I don't know. We stood there. The clock read 9,002 a.m. 2 minutes past the normal disappearance time. The pattern was broken. The other four remained frozen. But Patricia was free, conscious, aware. Maybe you can leave now, I said. Maybe breaking the pattern is the key. Try to walk through. She approached the threshold, hesitated, then stepped through. She didn't disappear. She passed through the doorway into the parking lot, into daylight. She looked at her hands, still solid, still present. I'm outside, she said, amazed. I'm out of the dining area. Try walking to your car. Try leaving the property. She walked toward where the parking spaces had been 7 years ago. But they were different cars now. Her car was long gone. Towed, sold, recycled. She reached the property line, the edge of the Continental Express lot, put 1 foot forward, and vanished. Just gone. Not gradually. Instantly. Like she'd crossed an invisible barrier. I ran to the spot. Nothing there. Just empty asphalt. Inside the dining area, I checked the other four. They were still frozen, still mid-step. At 6 a.m. the next morning, December 19th, I came back. All 5 guests appeared. Same tables, same meals, same routine, including Patricia. Back in her seat by the window, same floral blouse, same waffle, same coffee. No memory of our conversation, no awareness. The pattern had reset. She was trapped again. I've tried 18 more times, different approaches, different conversations. I've broken the pattern with Patricia 4 additional times. She becomes aware, remembers dying, tries to leave, vanishes at the property line, resets the next morning. The others, I can't break their patterns. They don't respond. Don't wake up. Whatever makes Patricia accessible doesn't work for them. Last attempt was yesterday. I spoke to Patricia after she became aware. Why do you think you keep coming back? I don't know. I never made it to my daughter. I was supposed to see her. I promised. Maybe that's why. Unfinished business. Your daughter is alive, living in Sacramento. I can contact her. Tell her you're here. I'm not here. I'm dead. I'm a ghost eating ghost waffles and a ghost breakfast. But you're conscious sometimes. You remember. Maybe that's enough. Maybe I can tell her you're okay. Patricia smiled sadly. I'm not okay. I'm trapped. I've been eating the same breakfast for 7 years. That's not okay. She walked to the property line, stepped through, vanished. This morning, she was back. Same table, same meal, no memory of yesterday. The Continental Express still offers complimentary breakfast from 6 to 9 a.m. 5 guests still attend every morning. If you stay there, you might see them. You might not. But if you do, don't try to help them. Don't break the pattern. Because even when they wake up, even when they understand, they can't leave. They're stuck eating breakfast forever, and Patricia Hendricks' daughter still lives in Sacramento, wondering why her mother never showed up for dinner on June 5, 2017. I tried to call her, to tell her I've seen her mother, that she's still here in some form. But what would I say? Your mother is trapped in a motel dining area, eating waffles for eternity, and there's nothing anyone can do? So I just visit, once a month. Sit with Patricia, eat breakfast with the ghosts. It's the least I can do. It's all anyone can do. Story number 6, the swimming pool. The Riverside Motor Court swimming pool had been drained for renovations when I checked in on July 9, 2024, but every night I could hear people swimming in it, laughing, splashing, diving. The sounds of a pool party echoing across the courtyard from midnight to 3 a.m. I'd look out my window at the empty concrete basins surrounded by chain-link fence. No water, no people, just sounds. I mentioned it to the manager on my second night. She was a woman in her 60s named Diane. She looked uncomfortable. You're in room 8, she said. Yes, that room faces the pool. Yes. Most guests don't hear anything. Most? She didn't answer. Just said she'd move me to a different room if I wanted. I declined. I was curious now. The third night, I stayed awake, waited for the sounds to start. At midnight exactly, I heard the first splash. Then voices, laughter, music, less than tinny music, like from a portable radio. The sounds of summer, of vacation, of people enjoying a pool. I went outside. The courtyard was empty. The pool was empty. Just that dry concrete basin with a drain at the bottom. But the sounds continued, all around me. Surround sound. People swimming in water that didn't exist. I climbed the fence, dropped into the empty pool. The sounds were louder here, more immediate. I could hear specific conversations now. Fragments. Marco. Polo. Don't splash me, I just did my hair. Cannonball. A splash near my feet. But the concrete was dry. I felt in the water, saw no ripples, just heard the impact, heard the laughter. I reached out my hand, felt something. Resistance, coolness, not water exactly, but something occupying space. Something pushing back against my fingers. I stepped forward, the resistance increased, like walking through water. But I could see my legs clearly. No water, just pressure, temperature. The sensation of being submerged without the visual. I pushed deeper into the empty pool. The sounds grew louder. Someone brushed past me. I felt the contact, a shoulder bumping mine. A muttered, "Excuse me," but saw nothing. I was swimming with ghosts in a pool that had no water. I climbed out at 12:40 a.m., went to the office. Diane was still awake, doing paperwork. The pool, I said. It's haunted. She didn't look surprised. You went in? Yes. You felt them? Yes. You felt them? Yes. Who are they? She pulled out a file. Old newspaper clipping from 1979. Drowning at local motor court pool claims 3 lives. July 9th, 1979. 45 years ago today. 3 people drowned in the Riverside Motor Court swimming pool. 2 children and 1 adult. Party guests at a family reunion. Nobody noticed they were in trouble until too late. We drained the pool in 1980, Diane said. Never refilled it, but every year on July 9th, from midnight to 3 a.m., you can hear them. Swimming, playing, enjoying the pool. Just them? Just the 3 who died? No. That's the strange part. You hear dozens of people. The whole party. Everyone who was there that day. Like the pool is replaying the entire event. Have you tried to fill the pool again? Twice, in 1993 and 2008. Both times the water drained overnight. Completely. No leaks found. The pool won't hold water anymore. It's like it refuses. I went back to the pool every night for the next week. Each time, I heard different things, different conversations, different games. Marco Polo, chicken fights, diving contests. Always joyful, always energetic, never any sounds of drowning, never any screaming, just fun, celebration, life. On July 15th, I brought recording equipment, set up microphones around the pool, waited for midnight. The sound started on schedule. My equipment captured everything. Voices, splashing, music, all recorded clearly. I played it back the next morning, 3 hours of audio. But it was wrong. The playback was distorted, slowed down. The voices were deeper, wrong pitch. The splashing sounded heavy, viscous, not water sounds, something thicker. I ran it through audio software, corrected the pitch, adjusted the speed. The voices became clear. They weren't speaking English, some other language, something older, and they weren't happy sounds anymore. They were screaming, begging, drowning sounds, 3 hours of people dying in water. I stopped playback, deleted the files, didn't try to record again, but I kept visiting the pool, kept listening, because in real time, without recording, it sounded joyful. It sounded like life, and I thought maybe that was better. Maybe the pool was trying to preserve the good parts. The happy moments before tragedy. On July 22nd, I climbed into the pool again at midnight. Felt the invisible water, felt people brushing past me, and I started swimming. Actual swimming motions. Pulling my arms through the resistance. Kicking my legs against the pressure. It felt like swimming. The resistance was right. The temperature was right, and I could hear people around me now, not just random swimmers, specific voices. "Hey buddy, race you to the other end." A man's voice, enthusiastic, challenging. I raced, swam across the empty pool as fast as I could, felt someone beside me, matching my pace. We reached the far end simultaneously. "Good race," the voice said. I felt a hand slap my shoulder. Friendly, congratulatory. "Thanks," I said. "What's your name?" "Marcus. You?" I told him. We talked. He couldn't see. Me mentioned. I sounded far away, like I was calling from another room. But we conversed. He told me about the party, his sister's 40th birthday. Big family reunion. 27 people. Best day of the summer. "What year is this?" I asked. 1979. July 9th. Why? Just curious. We swam together for an hour. He introduced me to others. I shook hands with people I couldn't see. Played Marco Polo with invisible children. Joined a chicken fight team, felt hands gripping my shoulders, weight pressing down, but saw nothing. At 2:47 a.m., Marcus said, "Hey, have you seen Emily? My niece. She was here a minute ago." "I haven't seen anyone. I mean, I hear everyone, but she's 6. Blonde hair, pink swimsuit." "Emily?" Others joined the search. I heard panic building, parents calling names, adults diving, searching. The sounds of a party transforming into emergency. "Someone call 911, get her out!" "Get her out? She's not breathing. Where's David? Where's Sarah?" 3 names. 3 drownings, happening around me in real time, or in recorded time, or in time that was happening eternally. I climbed out of the pool at 2:58 a.m. The sounds continued. Screaming, crying, ambulance sirens. All the sounds from that night 45 years ago. At 3 a.m. exactly. Silence. The pool was empty again. Just dry concrete and echoes. I didn't go back to the pool after that. Checked out the next morning. But I dream about it sometimes. Dream about swimming in invisible water. About racing Marcus. About playing games with people who died 4 decades ago. The Riverside Motor Court still operates. The pool is still drained, still empty, still surrounded by chain link fence. Every July 9th, from midnight to 3 a.m., you can hear them swimming. If you listen carefully, you can hear the exact moment it goes wrong. When the laughter turns to panic, when the party becomes tragedy. But I prefer to remember the first part. The racing, the games, the joy, because that's what the pool is trying to preserve. The good moments, the happiness before everything ended. And maybe that's a kind of haunting too. Not horror, not terror, just memory playing on repeat, forever swimming in a pool that has no water, forever alive in the minutes before death, forever preserved in the last good moment. The Riverside Motor Courts pool will never hold water again. But it holds something more important. It holds July 9th, 1979, the best day of summer. Until it wasn't. Story 7, the vaccine sign. The Starlight Motel's vacancy sign flickered on every night at 9:47 p.m. regardless of whether rooms were available. And on August 13th, 24, I discovered it wasn't advertising to the living. The Starlight was 23 rooms in rural Oregon. Single story, horseshoe shape around a gravel parking lot. I'd booked online one night, passing through on my way to Portland. The picture showed a standard budget motel. Clean enough, cheap enough. I arrived at 8:30 p.m. The office was empty, but a note on the desk said, "Ring bell for service." I rang, waited. An elderly man shuffled out from a back room. Owner-operator, I assumed. He checked me in manually, no computer, just a paper ledger, and gave me a physical key to room 14. The room was fine, standard. I went out for food. Came back at 9:35 p.m. The parking lot had 3 cars, including mine. The motel looked mostly empty. At 9:47 p.m., the vacancy sign turned on. Red neon, vacancy, bright and eye-catching in the darkness. At 9:52 p.m., a car pulled in. Old sedan, 1970s model. A couple got out middle-aged, dressed in clothes that looked vintage. They went to the office, checked in, received a key, went to room 7. At 10:04 p.m., another car. Truck this time, 1980s model, family of 4, same process. Room 11. By 11 p.m., every parking space was full. 15 vehicles, all older models, all occupied by people in outdated clothing. The motel that had been mostly empty was now completely occupied. I went to the office. The old man was behind the desk processing another check-in. "I thought you only had 3 guests tonight," I said. He looked at me, confused. "We're fully booked. Have been since 9:47. But an hour ago we had vacancies. Now we don't. That's how motels work." The family he was checking in walked past me. I heard them speaking, not English, not Spanish. Something else, something that sounded old. Back in my room, I watched through the window. Lights were on in every unit now. People moving behind curtains, living their motel routines, watching TV, showering, sleeping. At 3:17 a.m., engines started. All of them, simultaneously. 15 vehicles roaring to life in perfect synchronization. I watched as every guest checked out, loaded their luggage, drove away. By 3:29 a.m., the parking lot was empty again. Just my car and 2 others. The vacancy sign turned off at 3:30 a.m. exactly. The next morning, I asked the old man about the overnight guests. "What guests?" "The 15 check-ins after 9:47, the ones who all left at 3:17. He showed me his ledger. 3 guests registered, me and 2 others. No record of anyone checking in after I did. "You imagined it," he said. "I watched them, saw their cars, heard them talking. You were tired. Long drive. People see things when they're exhausted." But I'd taken photos. I pulled out my phone, showed him the parking lot at 11 p.m., full of vehicles. He looked at the photo, went pale. "Where did you get this?" "I took it last night. These vehicles, I recognize them. These are guests from years ago, decades ago." He pulled out old ledgers, started comparing. Found matches. A 1974 Buick registered to Samuel Morse, checked in August 13, 1974. Never checked out. A 1982 Ford truck registered to the Patterson family. Checked in August 13, 1982. Never checked out. 15 vehicles, all registered to guests who'd checked in on August 13 in different years, all marked never checked out in the ledgers. What happened to them on ledgers? What happened to them? I asked. The old man, his name was Carl, looked disturbed. "I don't know. I've owned this place since 1995. Bought it from the previous owner. These records were already here. All these guests marked as no-shows or disappearances." "They show up every year," I said. don't they? August 13th, 9:47 p.m. They all come back. Carl nodded slowly. I've seen them. Only on this date. They check in. Stay until 3:30 a.m. Check out. Disappear. I thought I was dreaming, hallucinating. You're the first person who's seen them too. Why 9:47? That's when the vacancy sign comes on. Every night. But on August 13th, it means something different. It's not advertising to living travelers. It's advertising to them, the lost guests, calling them back. Where do they go when they leave? I don't know. I decided to follow them, to see where the ghost guests went when they checked out. I stayed another night, waited for 9:47 p.m. The sign turned on. Red neon. Vassy. At 9:51 p.m., the first car arrived. That 1974 Buick. Samuel Morse got out, checked in. I watched in my window as Carl processed him. Same ledger, same routine. Except Carl could see him now, could interact with him. I approached the office, intercepted Samuel Morse as he walked to his room. Excuse me, can I talk to you? He looked at me, through me. No recognition. He walked past like I wasn't there. I tried with other guests as they arrived. Same result. They couldn't see me, couldn't hear me. I was a ghost to them as they were ghosts to the normal world. At 3:17 a.m., they started leaving. I ran to my car. Followed the first vehicle out, that 74 Buick. Samuel Morse drove slowly, deliberately, out of the parking lot, down the highway, 3 miles north. Then he turned onto a side road, gravel, poorly maintained. I followed. My headlights illuminated his taillights ahead. He drove for 2 more miles, then stopped. I stopped behind him, got out. We were at a cliff edge, overlook, above a valley. Beautiful during the day, probably. Terrifying at night. Samuel Morse got out of his Buick, walked to the cliff edge, stood there for a moment, then stepped off, fell into darkness. His car disappeared, just vanished. One moment there, next moment gone. I ran to the edge, looked down, couldn't see bottom. Couldn't see bottom, just darkness and distance. Behind me, more vehicles arrived. The other ghost guests. One by one, they parked, got out, walked to the edge, stepped off, disappeared. 15 guests, 15 disappearances, all between 3:20 and 3:30 a.m. I drove back to the Starlight. Found Carl in the office. They jump, I told him. From the cliff overlook 3 miles north. They all drive there and jump. Carl sat down heavily. I knew it. I've always known it. That overlook is where they all died. Different years, different accidents, but all on August 13th, all between 9:47 p.m. and 3:30 a.m. How? The overlook used to be a scenic stop. Before they added guardrails in 1992, people would pull over, get too close to the edge, fall, or jump. 15 people over 18 years, all died August 13th. Why did they come back here? Because the Starlight was their last stop, the last place they felt safe. They checked in, rested, then continued driving to their deaths. Now they're stuck in the loop. Check in, rest, drive to the overlook, fall, reset, every year, same night, same route. Can we stop them? I've tried. Every year I try. I don't check them in. I lock the office. I turn off the vacancy sign. Nothing works. They come anyway. Check in somehow. The ledger fills itself. The keys appear in their hands. The loop continues regardless of what I do. I stayed up all night. At 6 a.m., I drove back to the overlook. In daylight, it was beautiful. Scenic vista, guardrails installed, safety signs posted, tourists taking photos. But when I closed my eyes, I could still hear them. 15 engines, 15 people walking to the edge, 15 disappearances into darkness. I've come back every August 13th for the past 3 years. Same pattern, same ghost guests, same loop. Carl died in 2025. New owners now. They don't believe in the ghosts. Don't watch the parking lot. Don't see the pattern. But I do. I watch every year. I see them arrive. See them check in, see them drive away at 3:17 a.m., and I follow them. Every time. Out to the overlook. Watch them step off the edge. Watch them disappear. I've tried to intervene, tried to block the road. Park my car across the entrance, but they drive through. Not around. Through. Like I'm not there. Because to them, I'm not. I'm the wrong time. Wrong year. Wrong reality. They're trapped in August 13th. The day they died. The night they checked into the Starlight one last time before driving to their fate. The vacancy sign still turns on at 9:47 p.m. every August 13th. Red neon. Bright and eye-catching. But it's not advertising to the living. It's calling them home. The lost guests. The ones who checked in but never checked out. The ones who drive the same route every year, hoping this time will be different. Hoping this time they won't reach the overlook. But they always do. And at 3:30 a.m., the Starlight Motel parking lot is always empty again. Except for my car. Because I'm still watching. Still following. Still hoping to find a way to break the loop. But every year the vacancy sign calls them back. And every year they answer.